Hey there, impact communicators. My name is Mira Swarup and I'm an impact communication coach who regularly trains across organizations. I particularly like working with corporate millennials and helping them enhance their presence in front of their customers or people that matter to them the most. So let me jump on to what is this particular video about. This particular video is about love. And since it's festive season right now, I really felt that this particular message needs to go out to all of you. So I'll share with you where is this concept really being driven from. There's a book called The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. Now, according to me, this book has been a great path for me to further discover how best can I communicate with people who matter to me. Now let's look at it. No piece of education is always limited to any particular area of our life. It manages to apply across. So when you're listening to the information that I'm offering, you start to look at how is this applicable to the people who matter to you. It's applicable to people at home. It's applicable to people in your social circle. It's applicable to people at work, including your clients, your stakeholders. The concept of the 5 love languages is us as humans have some special, unique ways in which we communicate love or care to another person. Now, the only concern is because each one of us have a different style, we don't always recognize the other person's style of communicating care. And that often leads to misunderstanding or a lack of empathy or a lack of recognition for what the other person has done. Now, I found this book so powerful in being able to give us simple principles in being able to understand our people better. And when we understand them better, we start to talk their language. Now, let me jump directly to what I was coming to. The 5 love languages is about literally 5 various love languages that are shown by people in their day-to-day lives. So let's jump to it. The first language that I want to talk about is words of affirmation. Now, what does that mean? This means that if a person has his love language as words of affirmation, that person likes to receive compliments, genuine compliments. That person likes to receive appreciation, encouragement for what they have done. They want to be encouraged and they want to be appreciated. Now, why is this important? Because when you know that this is somebody's love language and you yourself don't always communicate love in the form of encouragement, for you communicating love may be another form. When you recognize this is somebody else's love language, you will speak of it. You will express love to them in that way because that's what they want to listen to. And that helps you grow your bond so much closer to that person. Now, the second one is physical touch. People who like to receive love through the form of literally physical touch. So these are huggers, these are patters, these are people who like a little scratch on their head, and they appreciate it when with the people who matter the most to them, they can get to enjoy this physical proximity and physical touch. I'll address it in detail about how this is how we can practically apply it into our lives. The third is people who like to receive gifts. Their language is the language of gifts. Now, word of caution, when I'm saying this, it does not mean expensive gifts. It does not mean it has to have a huge value. These are people who like to receive gifts. And when they receive it, they begin to really feel how much the other person cares. So it could be something as tiny as like a little pocket, a little small purse in which you could put some coins, or it could be something as big as a very fancy pen or a piece of jewelry. It could range from anything, yet it's not the cost of the item, it's really the thought that went behind acquiring the item. That's what this one's about. Fourth love language is quality of time. I love this one. I think it's beautiful because it's, as much as sometimes you're pressed for time, this one can make so much of a difference. So if somebody's love language is quality of time, these are the people who you will notice are consciously seeking your time. Or they're the ones who like to have long evenings. They're the ones who love to go out, spending time with friends and family. They're the ones who are creating moments for people to come together. They like it when they can get their time with the ones they really like. So that's quality of time. And the fifth one is about acts of service. And these are people who love to, they see genuine care when somebody looks after their needs in terms of jobs that need to be taken care of, chores that need to be taken care of, any particular errand that needs to be run. And if somebody is aware that this is their need and offers to have it done, you win them. So they're people whose love language is acts of service. Now let me come to the fact of how do you practically start to apply it. Well, first of all, you've got to keep your eyes open, your ears open to identifying, hey, whose love language is what? I'd say begin with yourself. First, try to understand what's your love language. Which one do you resonate with? There's a good chance that while I was taking you through this entire thing, you felt that out of the 5, 3 were clearly yours and you like to communicate love like that and you like to receive it like that. You might have felt that all 3 please you. Well, if that's the case, which is why I recommend do a particular test. I'm giving you a link in this video itself. Do a particular test. It's a certain small set of questions. When you answer, you will begin to see your own love language come out. I needed to go through this test twice for me to get absolute clarity. So I encourage you, feel free to go through it twice so that you can really start to see who you are and where you are. Now, once you've identified your language, it'll be a lot easier for you to start recognizing other people's language. So how do you recognize it? Let's go with the words of affirmation. The people who you notice end up complimenting others, who end up appreciating others, who take out the time to genuinely give a word of care, are the ones whose language is probably the language of affirmation. Please be aware, I'm using the word probably because you will need to notice a pattern. Is it particularly this one or is it a combination? So when you start to identify such people, this is what you do. If that person holds a special place for you in your life and you care about them, then you're going to appreciate them, find ways to do this. Clearly, you're going to encourage them for whatever they're on, any particular project that they're handling, anything that they did, you would certainly take out the time to appreciate them for what you did. These are also the people who, out of the blue, like to receive a text message or a little written note that you left for them, because words matter so much to them. How you use them matters a lot. So use this technology, use this tool to be able to connect with them. To how would you apply this if you're in a situation? We're still talking about words of affirmation. So at home, if it's your spouse, you'll be careful. You wouldn't say something wrong. You would, in fact, say words of encouragement. Like you would say something like, I really like the way I can be so free for inviting guests over. You make it so comfortable for me to have guests come over and enjoy a lovely dinner at our house. Thank you for the effort that you make. That's you appreciating the person. Similarly, with your child, you want to give words of affirmation. So you say, I am so impressed with how you have shown bravery with your friend. I'm amazed at how you have been so mature in handling this situation. Telling your child something about them and appreciating them for it. That's words of affirmation. The third one, in office, really telling somebody, hey, you did a great job on that presentation. So I did make a video earlier about how we need to appreciate people. And when we really want to appreciate people, please appreciate people, not things. So don't say great presentation, say you did a great job on the presentation. You said you, that's making a difference. It goes right to their heart. That's the words of affirmation for you. Now with physical touch, what is it that you can do to identify people whose language may be physical touch? So if that's your spouse, if that's your child, they're the ones who are always running to give you a hug. So you would start to identify that these are people who like to receive hugs, or these are people themselves who like to give you a pat on the back, or they're the ones who come and give you a scratch on your head. That's how they're relaying it. So you start to identify. They often even say it. I haven't got a hug in so long. Or they might even say something like, could you scratch my back, please? When they're waking up in the morning. So these are the kind of things that tell you, this person likes physical touch. They're also somebody who's very emotive through their body language. They will be particularly using it to be able to express themselves better. At work, take caution. we have boundaries. We can't cross that. So, which is why be very careful about how you're communicating physical touch with anybody at work. And now, usually it's not very debatable. So, with with co-workers of the same sex, you're going and patting somebody on his back because you particularly know that's his love language if you've identified it. So, actually going and appreciating him and say, "Hey, great job, buddy! You did great work. I'm so happy to have you on my team." Communicating your care through that would be beautiful. The third one, like I said, is receiving gifts. These are people, like I said, who just love to receive the simplest, smallest of things that you can find. So now I'll give you an example. My friend made it so special for me. She and I went shopping, and I was looking for some change in my bag and I couldn't find it. And then the next day again, she came over for lunch, and beautifully she carries this little pouch for me, and she says, "This is a little pouch for your coins." So the ones whose language is gifts of love, yes, gifts of love, they are the ones who are always looking out for who among their friends or circle of people they care about needs what. And they would go very thoughtful into getting a gift for somebody. They would consciously try to get something they know they want, or they know that the other person will use. They're that particular about it. So start to look out who among your circle of people is very conscious about what's your need in terms of material things, like physical things that don't necessarily have high cost, and is consciously looking for them to get. So if a child's love language is gifts, he's the one who's going to go pick up a little flower from the garden and bring it to his mother. That's how he would communicate it. Somebody at work, your friend might actually, buy you something that you read. So she goes, travels outside, and she comes back and she buys a little magnet, but she knows she thought of you when she was outside, and she came and gave it to you. That's people communicating their love and care through the form of gifts. Now comes the fourth language. That's quality of time. Quality of time is amazing in the amount of impact it can create. It really depends on the person. If their language is quality of time, you can use it so beautifully to help communicate to the person that you love them. How? So with your spouse, if you know that spouse, your partner, somebody, your parent, someone it is their love. They would like to spend time together. They're the ones who are saying, "When are you coming home?" They're the ones who are saying, "Can we go out for a movie?" They're the ones who are saying, "Hey, let's watch the latest thing on Netflix," because they like company. They want undisturbed attention. So I have this friend, and so our group of friends come together, and this one friend of ours, I'm very clear, his love language is quality of time, because he's always at all of us. "Put your phones away. We guys are together. We're not going to be on our phones." He's always complaining to us about how much we can spend time on our phones. So I know for sure his love language is quality of time. He wants us with him, not elsewhere. Similarly, kids, they'll be craving. They'll be like, "Fun time, mama. Mama, let's do this. Mama, you got to color with me." Or, "Dad, you've got to come and play this with me." They are the ones who constantly want to play with you. Of course, you can interpret it as a child seeking attention. Yet start to see when they're seeking positive attention, when they're not throwing a tantrum, when they're not creating an upset, but they're consciously asking for your attention in the form of company. That's your child's love language. Now, third, if it's an employee, if it's a colleague, if it's your manager, and you can identify that their love language is quality of time. So imagine if it's somebody junior who's reporting to you. These are the people you probably need to spend slightly longer time in that one-on-one interaction. These are the people who will share feelings and opinions all in one go. Conversations are rarely only transactional for them. They will relay more. They will want to express more. And I know you would want to balance out time. It may be a concern. Yet if you can especially take out the time for them, you would communicate that they're important for you. Now comes the fifth language, acts of service. So acts of service is great in a household because all you've got to key out for, listen to is, what is your spouse, partner, parent asking for? So, or your friends, what are they asking for? To be able to identify somebody whose love language is acts of service, you would notice these are the people who literally just jump out of their chair to go and help somebody. They will instantly be available to do something for somebody. And they take joy out of it. They take absolute pleasure out of it. Like again, among us group of friends, when you go out, there's this one gentleman who will instantly, somebody wants water, he'll instantly get up and he'll go get it from the kitchen. The children in the room are asking for something, he will instantly get up and he'll offer it and he'll give it to them. And he'll come back, he'll take his place, he'll be with the group again. It doesn't seem too much effort for him to move around and do things. These are the people who also, so somebody's love language is acts of service. These are also the people who are listening to their dear ones about, they're looking to see how they can get certain documentation completed. So they're the first ones to tell you where to go, what to do. They might even offer you help about, hey, I can take you there, or hey, I can provide you with a number. They are looking to see how they can add value to people through certain elements of service. Similarly, so your child, if you recognize your child's language is acts of service, he would be one who would be always, helping you carry your bags back home, or would be saying, Daddy, can I help you with some work? Daddy, can I cut this for you? They're always trying to contribute. You will notice a pattern. They're trying to contribute in whatever it is that you're doing. They're trying to assist you at whether you're in the kitchen, whether you're in the market, whether you're doing your own office work. They want to help. That's their way of communicating, Dad, I love you. And at work, if you know somebody's love language is acts of service, first of all, you'll start to identify a pattern that they're getting up to do work for others. And these are the people who you can help by being around. Now, when you're around, you'll begin to notice. For instance, they're probably the last one who's stepping out of a conference room, and they realize, the chairs are not pushed in, or the coffee mugs are not in place. So they don't like to leave the place like that. So they start cleaning up. You help. You don't walk out. You go back and say, hey, let me give you a hand, and you help. If they see that this person is like coming up with a lot of files or carrying some bulky stuff, and you step up and you say, hey, can I help? And you take it on. So when you notice that a person's love language is acts of service and you immediately offer up help, they'll be happy to take it from you. Usually when it's a person's love language and another person is giving it, many a times they happily receive it. I hope this information was of value for you. I have to say, when I read this book and I started to apply the principles, it shifted a lot of how I started to interact with people around me. My parents, my spouse, my child, my social life, my clients, participants I interact with. It shifted because it's so much fun to start to see, what is this person's love language? You start to focus on them. You start to listen to what's the usual concern that's coming up. And when you catch on to that concern, you've got it. Another quick reason I want to tell you why I really, really like this book, and I highly recommend that you read it. If you're looking for an investment, by the way, the link to the book is given in the description. Please feel free to go look at it, and I highly recommend that you do. The other reason I recommend this book to people is because I feel when you read this is that steps forward you take in developing your emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? To a great extent, people describe it as identifying with another person's feelings and also being aware of your own feelings and your own concerns. When you understand the subject of love languages, it may be a conversation that will help make you much, much aware of what your needs and feelings are, and for you to be able to help identify what somebody else's feelings are, and also further be able to serve them. That's very powerful. I wish you all the very best, impact communicators. Go create magic. Festivity is in the air, and I believe everybody deserves the best version of you. So go make use of this. The links are down below, and do subscribe, do share. Feel free to share this video across with people who you think would love it and would see value in it. Take this to the next book club meeting that you're having to encourage Gary Chapman's book called The 5 Love Languages. Wish you all the best. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.